Jamie, I had to start.
Oh my God! Wow, really?
Yeah.
Wait a second.
Well, my mind is blown, and I wanted to date stamp these. Check it out. You want to see the ugliest glasses of all time? Look at this. No, literally, they are the ugliest glasses of all time, but I needed to date stamp this video. What is it, 2 days after Groundhog's Day, 2025?
Today is February 4th,
Okay.
2025.
Now, there's a lot of things that I'm going to film about over the next couple of months, including really exposing some of the horrible truths about our society. But my goal is to try to be positive. But unfortunately, I got to take these off. They look ridiculous. It's a good thing I can see what
Dr. Nefario.
Dr. Nefario. Look at this. What is Dr. Nefario from Grooves? Despicable Me.
When you wear those.
Despicable Me.
You just need a white coat.
Look at this. This is my $1 million man, Ted DiBiase, like the trustee.
U.S. trustee.
U.S. trustee, Don
US trustee.
DiBiase. Anyways, let's not digress. Okay. The reason why this video has to go out right away is because we're dealing with some really like mind-blowing stuff. And we have the ability to publicly show certain things and withhold certain things. And for the legal process, we always try to show as much as we can. But for the safety process, it's really gotten to a point where I'm going to need you to post this video right away tonight, because essentially we're dealing with corruption at the highest level, and we're dealing with human beings that have access to really an immense amount of power and wealth that want to silence what we're about to say. Do you agree?
I do.
All right. Now, I'm about to say a bunch of things, and then I'm going to ask you if I'm telling the truth or not.
Sure.
So if I'm saying something that's incorrect, you should interrupt me.
Absolutely, I will. I did today already.
Do you understand?
I do.
Do you accept your mission?
I accept it.
All right, here we go. My name is Dana Lim Reeses. I am both a federal agent, a father, and a slew of other things, such as commercial real estate developer and applied mathematician, and God knows what else, what other hats I have to wear. But what I'm not is a liar, nor am I the king. We live in 2025, where there is a president. His name is Donald J. Trump, correct? So let's start from there. The political aspect of the climate that we live in is so confusing for the average citizen that I have taken the time to very calmly do something that I've never done before, and that is slow down, so that I can really explain to everyone. Jamie, do you have any chapstick? I think that my lips are chapped. Awesome. Best assistant ever. So, do you watch the news, Jamie? Do you watch the news? You hear about this Menendez guy?
Heard about him.
Well, what have you heard about him?
He's a bad guy. He's a corrupt politician.
Yeah? And so you got 11
He's guilty of
years in
treason.
prison.
Well,
Do you know?
not technically guilty of treason, but he is treasonous.
And was I in the audience that day?
Oh, yes, you are.
Well, I mean,
So was I.
so was it looked like Teresa Giudice in the front row. The Real Housewives made an appearance.
But you know who wasn't there?
Who?
His wife.
His wife was not there. You know, there's an unknown element, and then there's a known element. So the unknown element is how her cancer treatment is going. So it's a sensitive matter, right? But you know what is a known element?
What's that?
She's a murderer. She killed a human being with her car. And that's the part that cannot be accepted by the American public. So that's an example. That's an example of some of the things that fall to the wayside, because we're dealing with mayors, other politicians, and a slew of other human beings that really cannot be exposed for the things they've done. So,
Well, I agree. And I think you should talk about what we talked about in the car about judges and lawyers making the laws that...
I will, but first I have to just release some content really, really quickly so that our safety is protected all around. And that is, in his final act of desperation, so Bob Menendez did many, many things, including try to save his own hide by crying, and you know, it's never good when someone goes to prison, but when a human being who has made an entire lifetime on corruption and making a public spectacle over being the son of a Hispanic immigrant and a slew of other things, only to be publicly outed as a very corrupt politician. It's humiliating for everyone who has ever supported him. But you know what? He wasn't remorseful, because he never one time said, "I'm sorry for my deeds," because Bob Menendez is trying to appeal. And this is the same man who tried to throw his wife under the bus during the entire trial by saying, "It's not even mine, it's hers." And during the sentencing, he was crying and saying, "I just want to be with my wife." And it's that double standard, that the two-sided story that the American public simply cannot digest anymore.
Yeah.
And during that entire fiasco, there was this very interesting young man that spoke to the entire world to announce both verdicts. Were you there?
I was.
So I found that guy to be very, very interesting, and I found that to be very relevant to everything that's going on. But I don't believe that it is time to release that information yet, because we have identified, ta-da, the conspiracy. And a conspiracy is a very serious thing. So when you film about a federal crime, you better know what you're talking about, because especially if you're talking about judges, lawyers, things like that. So let's begin. We're dealing with a very sensitive subject matter. There are two human beings that I'll be discussing: Judge Esther Salas, the mother, and Judge Esther Salas, the judge. I have nothing but good things to say about her as a mother, because A, I've never met her, nor have I met her as a human being. But on a professional level, what you're about to hear is 100% the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. While Bob Menendez was being sentenced, in his final act, in his final hurrah, he threw his close friends under the bus. And he identified that during his sentencing, one of the key primary letters, and the only one that he read, was by the husband of Judge Esther Salas, his close friend, Mark, what's his last name?
Andel.
Mark Andel, who's an attorney. Now, Mark Andel personally wrote a letter to Judge Sidney Stein
On
behalf of Bob, because Bob helped champion a law, and that law is very controversial. And it was right in front of me. And I didn't see it, because sometimes if you really want to hide something, where is the best place?
In plain sight.
And what is the name of this law?
Daniel's Law.
Daniel's Law. And I thought, this can't be. It can't possibly be. But in reality, I sued Fred Davies, my mother, and a bunch of other people. And guess who that judge was? Judge Esther Salas. And Judge Salas purposefully has prevented me from seeing her or the courtroom for over 2 years because of her close relationship with Bob Menendez, who was protecting Fred Davies.
True.
And that's really, it's jaw-dropping. I'm not even at 12 minutes, and I don't even have anything else to say, because it's so controversial, since I really empathize with the Salas and the end. I don't know how to like say two people. But I'm a father, and I am genuinely afraid at this point, because we're dealing with a subject matter that is so mind-blowing that no one could ever believe that such a highly esteemed, reputable actual Hispanic judge, an immigrant like myself, as I film content touting the brilliance of female entrepreneurs and how important it is for men to recognize the moral dignity of females. Microbank is based on Mohammed Yunus's Grameen, which is based on microloans, $5,000 to female small business owners in third world impoverished nations. Like, this is wild. This is wild. This is, I don't even know, this is all true. And Richard Trank knew this, which is why he immediately resigned.
He did.
And I don't even know how to even like handle this, but it makes all the sense in the world. It does make all the sense in the world. And you know what? Judge Esther Salas should see me immediately. She could have whatever. I'm a nonviolent human being. I'm a father. I've spent 40 years. I'm 42. I remember first time 2 years, 7 months or so. I spent 40 years not hurting a single person. I don't understand how I've been classified as a psychopath or a violent person, as I'm trying to get my own properties back. My mother robbed me of $6 million, Judge Salas. Hello? Like, this is not a joke. You can't just do this because you're good friends with Bob Menendez, who's getting gold bars from Fred Davies. My life is ruined, Your Honor. Like, my life is fucking ruined. Like, Jamie's life was ruined. My family's life. You know who has kids? I do.
Yeah.
I have children, and you know what? They're gonna grow up and they're gonna be like, Dad, is this a joke? I was like, you know what, boys? Unfortunately, it's far from a joke.
You've been screaming it.
I've been saying that, hey, there's a conspiracy, and I couldn't understand
How deep it went.
But I can't even believe Bob Menendez just threw his friend under the bus and exposed.
He was number 2 on the list.
He was exposed the whole conspiracy. I was in the audience because I was the person that started the case to convict him. How much shit can one person do to have to get his own shit back? These are my properties that I had stolen from fraudsters, criminals, the most corrupt human beings who have taken the public's money, interest, trust, everything you can imagine, and have wiped their asses with it. And I have to go in to New York City on my time and watch going from one asshole who defrauded me, then I took a lunch break, and then I watch another asshole who was part of the bribery conspiracy all go for close to a decade, if not over a decade, to prison. And then in the final breath, I get the answer to why my civil cases have been suppressed by one of the most open-minded, liberal, democratic, or I don't know what her political affiliation is, but she definitely has championed civil rights. I don't know what it is, but the corruption it makes you want to vomit because I didn't even know that I was this right. I didn't even know that I was this right, and I'm really fucking smart. Like, I had no idea. I didn't even know that we lived in such a corrupt place. So if anything ever happens to me or Jamie, please just look at the 30 people that...
Just track the lawsuits.
Yeah, just track the lawsuits, guys. It's not that complicated. I got to take a little bit of a break, but we're going to continue in one more video, okay? You got anything else to say? No. Best assistant ever.